Over the past several years, I've developed some pretty bad habits with my aiming and tracking. I'm able to locate the enemies, but I'm not able to hit my shots. I completely whiff most of them, and if I do hit them, they're more or less going to be lucky shots. I'm pretty much an average gamer, maybe a little bit above average depending on the game, and the situation, the time of day. Did I get enough sleep? Did I eat? Am I comfortable? Have I been gaming for a long period of time? Did I take a break? It all factors into how I perform and how I play. The biggest issue that I see when playing most of my games after watching the videos back is tracking. I see the person, and if I flick to them, I might be a little bit off, but I can correct that after the correction. And if they're moving, they're running away or something, my tracking's off, and so I'm moving left and right. It doesn't. I want it to be a better gamer. I want to be a better shot. I want it to be able to control and handle my sprays, especially with different games coming out where competitive really matters. And so what I decided to do is to actually learn how to aim properly, how to track properly, and how to flick properly. I haven't really spent time and taught myself how to do this, or even learn the muscle memory behind aiming or tracking and just being good at FPS games. The Kovaak 2.0 Meta Aim Trainer, and what this is to improve my aim and my tracking abilities. I did 3 different scenarios: 1 flick, 1 long strafe tracking, and 1 short straight tracking. So these 3 scenarios I feel like would have the biggest impact in my skills and would really improve me. So I only did this for a week to see how great my skills would increase. So the first one I did, I started off every day with the flick shots. Plan is to increase your speed and accuracy will come. And I thought that was crazy, but until I really focused that and I really did see it. I noticed whenever I did this, I had to have good posture, I had to be fresh, I had to be ready, and I had to be focused. I had to glance on the object in order to flick on them properly and be able to actually hit my target. After doing several attempts on this, I really found out this. I feel more comfortable playing this, and this is a great warm-up too. A lot of games that I played, especially with the new game Valorant coming out, before I hop into that, I would open up this aim trainer, do practice a little bit, and see how it is. So with the 3 scenarios, I did 20 minutes on this aim trainer and then 10 minutes both the straight aim scenarios. I found that the flick scenario was the easiest to pick up right off the bat. I saw the quickest progression from this scenario, where the long strafe and the short strafe scenarios actually took me a lot longer to figure out. My tracking is like writing cursive. It was scribbles all over the place. Where flicks, it seemed more smooth. The scenarios did get faster, but the smoothness was very consistent throughout the whole scenario. I found that I was able to recognize the target and point to where they were at. Overall, I was very close to majority of my targets. Some of them I was a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right of them. That's one issue that I've noticed throughout all. I am able to flick, but I'm not able to hit my targets. I can get very close, but I can't get exact. And that is one thing that is really holding me back from moving and progressing out of the average or above average zone, is to be able to land the flick shots. After each flick scenario, it would give you a little rundown on your hit misses, what quadrant, and how close you were to actually hitting the target. So there's a difference from what I can tell between actually flicking to your target and actually hitting your target. And then during my scenarios, I was able to get up to level 2.3, and I actually recently beat 2.3, and now I'm at 2.4. So right there, that's where I feel like I've stagnated a little bit. It's getting a lot harder, and I have to go over and over and play it again and again and again. And you can see as time went on, my DPS average for the 2 levels are actually kind of stagnating and going down. So we can see that. And for some reason, there's this dip throughout the week. To be honest, I think that's when I was a little tired and it got pretty late, and I wasn't focused enough, and so my performance definitely declined. But when I was ready, I brought it right back up, and I was able to maintain. So after doing the Kovaak flick trainer, I went into the custom game modes and found the 2 strafe trainers. So the short strafe is where this ball moves very quickly, left and right, up and down. So this is supposed to improve my tracking. When I first started this, I was absolutely terrible, just the worst. couldn't keep track of the ball, and I was always off of it. I was like, how are people good at this? But as time went on, my tracking actually got better. So the orange line shows the short strafe tracking. I started off about like 25% accuracy, and then at the end of the week, I moved up to 35% accuracy. Then long strafe tracking, where the ball moves in longer strides, it started around 47, 48%, and then I moved up above 62%. So these two changes were pretty great, and this only happened within a week. So obviously you're not going to see the same results each week. You would see it generally in the first week. You would maybe slow down a little bit the next couple of weeks, but you would always see a trending up. Okay, it might not be always the best, but it should be a trending performance increase. And I recommend using these scenarios, saving all the data that you have, because this way you can actually see your increase, your performance gains. You can see how well you've gotten over the past couple of days, couple of weeks, couple months. There's a couple scenarios that save it for you, but this really helps to see how well you're doing over time. So now the strafe score is obviously, if my accuracy is getting better, what's my score going to look like? So my score for the short strafe was always below 150, so I got that above 200. And then my long strafe score, it was around I think it was like 275, 280. I was able to get that up to around 360, 370. So now those two definitely improved, where when I started this, I was way below average. So now I'm normally where I'm slightly above average, and I'm getting better. What's nice about this is it actually keeps a high score of every time you play this scenario. You're able to see what's the highest you've gotten. You're able to compare to other people that actually played this game as well. So in the short strafe, I'm getting better. Pretty much every day I play this, I get a new high score, and that's where you see in the trending graphs. It's always getting better and better and better. Only playing this for a week, I see a huge difference. My long strafe accuracy almost increased 30%, and then my long strafe score just under 30%. Short strafe score, huge increase, almost 45% increase, and then short strafe accuracy, same thing. It's like 43-44% accuracy increase. This just shows, just in a week, your performance will improve. You will get better. So now obviously there's going to be a little bit, it's like you have to get used to the game, you have to get used to the mode, but this, if you keep the same sensitivity DPI settings, it will translate across the games and you will get better. Of course, you have to get used to the actual game. There's always a learning curve for each and every game, but once you get used to that game and you perfect your tracking and your flicking, you will get better. And the key for every new game is to develop good habits right out at the beginning. So carrying over good habits from other games, it's huge. And so now I was able to, hop into Valorant, and there's a couple of times when I'm not hitting my targets exactly how I want to be. But along with being able to locate the enemy, position myself properly, I'm able to hit and flick up to the different targets and hit them. So now one huge thing about different games, especially with strategy games, is like different games, Valorant, CSGO, Overwatch, any really skilled based game where you have a team and you need them to work with you, a huge portion is positioning. So you need to position yourself and be able to, capitalize on the situations that happen. So now one thing that I see that's slightly a drawback is within the aim trainer, you're always going to be stationary. You're not going to be moving. There's a couple scenarios where you can be moving, but all the scenarios that I did, I'm not moving. So really in different games, especially, CSGO or Valorant, where movement is key and you can't really be moving while shooting. It's not going to work out. You're not going to get your shots. Once the actual, core concept of flicking to your shot and tracking your target become part of a habit, then the next step would actually be going into those, different scenarios where you can move around and where you need to move around, maybe wide peek, close peek, and still be able to flick, maintain your shot. It's all part of a developing process, and as time goes on, you will get better. And in a short period of time, I can already tell, my skills improving, and just the core fact of warming up, you see a huge difference in gameplay. Now, of course, there is plenty of work, and I have a long road ahead of me to really perfect and fine-tune these skills. This is just a week and I already see huge improvements. The skills that I would gain and the knowledge I would gain would be unreal. So really being able to do this consistently would be the hardest part. That is just practice, like anything. If you do good practice, you will get better, and that's all it is.